Is this thing on?
All right, let's get this show on the road.
Okay.
Welcome to the Coffee and Carving Show, Canadian edition. A nice little 5-chord and a 1.
Yeah.
Woo! Dang, it's nice to hear somebody playing the guitar, man. That's not me. That's not a total amateur.
Oh, come now. Don't sell.
And wait, 10 seconds in, I already have the Canadian flag flying.
There you go. Yep. Canadian edition. Alec is a minority today. Hey,
I'm
folks, welcome to episode number, what is it, Alec? 54? 53?
53.
53.
Looks like a Canadian flag.
There you go. Well passed.
But it's actually from Hobby Lobby, I think, so we don't have.
Oh, that's the American contribution.
Yeah,
Hobby
true
Lobby.
True that.
We are excited and pleased to have a special guest today. It is a fellow Canadian and a fellow that I look up to and love his work. We have Lucas Kost with us today. Yay!
I'm a fan of the show. I'm now a part of the show. I'm going to go put this guitar away so I don't have to hold it with my arm the whole time.
There you go.
You could, though. You could have just kept it with you. That'd have made me happy.
Just be sweating profusely for the whole show.
Yeah, speaking of which, I have to take my shirt off too. It is Africa hot in my house. This weekend, I finally went to work and cleaned my stove pipes and got some firewood split. And yeah, it's going to be a naked house soon because I just love firing up that wood stove and getting it too hot till my wife complains. So,
Yeah.
Yep,
Well, I'm glad that you have that problem because I'm pretty sure like my house is like 59 degrees right now. Which is, what is that in Celsius? I'm sorry. Oh, I apologize.
Remember the edition of the show you're on here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no wonder you're so hot, man.
Yeah.
We're going to go international with this, Lucas, because our Canadian viewers are
watching are on the show right now, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Exactly.
Yeah, a good quarter of them are. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, anybody got coffee going? I got coffee going.
Sure do.
All right.
What do you got, Lucas?
I'm drinking some Lavazza, I believe.
Yep.
Some Italian light roast Lavazza. But I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical about that because it's like a drip pour over coffee, but they don't really drink that in Italy. Like,
Right.
I have never had that as coffee. I've had it as espresso.
Yeah.
The Lavazza, but I never had the coffee.
I don't know. Maybe I misread the thing and I'm drinking a giant fat cup of espresso right now.
Well, give it about 30 minutes and this show will be kicking into high
on
gear.
fire. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Doug?
Oh, old faithful Sophie said, drink something different so you don't blame me for taking the label off and putting in the glass jar. But we're still working on that no-name coffee.
Oh, you got her, didn't you?
I got her, but anyway, our what do you got? Quick look at buddy.
Oh, yeah, decaf. Something.
Just decaf.
Decaf with but I put butter in it to try and make a quick bullet coffee, and it's very bad.
I don't know why people do that. Do you do that?
Well, I've
Lucas?
heard of like keto people doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be why I did it.
It must be.
Yeah, that's why I did
Must
it.
be.
Trying to go into ketosis straight on the podcast.
I think my giant.
But it doesn't work with a. Is that before or after you eat up the rest of your Halloween candy?
Probably before. Yeah, that would be before. My costume, I wanted to go as a wood carver and then have Annalise be Pinocchio, my wife, and it never worked out. But
Geppetto.
yeah,
That would have been good.
yep,
Yeah.
you got it. Yep. So anyway,
Have you watched that movie? You told me, or someone told me how terrible it was. They got the worst Rotten Tomatoes.
I know.
But I love the movie.
really,
I thought it was great. Yeah.
I hadn't seen it.
The remake, of course.
We should save that for the media section, Doug.
I'm not promoting Pinocchio, but we do have to thank.
Speaking of which, I want to allude to before you get to that. I've listened to you on one of your movie recommendations, so I'm stoked to mention that
good.
to Lucas as well. Anyway, go ahead.
We just want to thank our coffee hero this week is Tom. Tom is contributing to the coffee fund and in a great way. So thanks, Tom.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Yeah, we appreciate it.
Well, let's grill our guest.
Oh yeah. All right. What's the worst thing you've ever done, boys? Yeah.
Agreed.
Tell us your
No, but
no, I'm just kidding.
yeah, there you go. So
we keep it jovial on this show, don't we? We like.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Maybe before that, we should talk about the similarities between the two of you, because I was saying earlier, if things don't work out with Alec, I'm going to jump ship and go to Lucas because they're kind of the same people.
I really don't understand why you haven't already done that, Doge.
Right?
Because he's like Alec 2.0. Yeah. You are like I was telling
Canada. I like.
There you go.
I remember when I first. I don't know if I found you on the gram or you found me or whatever happened. I saw your guitar playing, and I was like, I remember. I think we had started the podcast at this point, and I was telling Doug like, that guy drives me nuts. He is so good at the guitar. He's ridiculous. He's ridiculously good at the guitar. I hate him.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much, and I felt the exact same way about coming across your carvings. Just like back
Thanks,
before
man.
I started doing it full time, which I am now. Came across your stuff on Instagram, and it's like, whoa, this dude's carving cottonwood bark, but it's like not wood spirits. It's like fully realistic, proportionally accurate carvings, and it's like, whoa, that's mind blowing. So,
thanks, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. And so what's funny is we talked yesterday on FaceTime before this call and before the recording of this podcast, and we realized that we have a little bit more in common than we thought. So we both play guitar. Yep. We're both wood carvers, but we also have a very similar love of bluegrass and Gordon Lightfoot, as well as Doug Linker does here. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I just found that interesting. But you also told me that your dad was a luthier or like a guitar repair guy. He's built
probably
guitars.
Like almost like he's, he could have been a luthier if that's what he wanted to do. He's built guitars, from scratch. But mostly he just does hobby repair stuff. But yeah, your dad's obviously a luthier too, and it's incredible. And the hockey, I mean, goes without saying. Gotta shout that.
Oh yeah,
Canadian edition too. Like it's seen on your Instagram. Where do you go skating? Where is that spot?
Well, first of all, there's not one spot, but I want to say about the hockey that I think that's just like a northern thing. Like, we're in Michigan, and we're like, I mean, we're an hour away from Canada. Yeah. So, from the bridge, the Ambassador Bridge. But we were skating last year on my friend's. He actually built a rink. He built berms and bought this hockey tarp, and he spends weeks tending this thing, or at least days tending this thing and making it. So we're just about to start that process next week. So I'm going to go help him. But
super.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got.
Yeah. And what about you? Where are you playing? You doing pond hockey?
Yeah. Well, maybe they have this. They must. I guess if your buddy's building an outdoor rink, do they just have do community centers have outdoor rinks there? We call it the ODR. Yeah, you're again.
Okay. No, yeah, we don't really. We have our some major towns have public skate rinks, but nothing like that.
Most
outdoors.
Community centers here that have an indoor rink for the community club hockey will also have an outdoor rink that they flood with full on boards and good quality, heavy duty nets and stuff. So yeah, that's where we go. Usually we just rip around I used to do that. I lived 2 minutes away from one growing up, and I would just go every day. It was just. Yeah, it's so great.
Yeah. I'm a little jealous of that because where my wife is from, they have that too. Every little town has a little ice rink or whatever, but we're a little bit too south for that. But you're up in Winnipeg?
That's correct.
And so you're in the middle of winter right now.
I am. But surprisingly, it's pretty damn nice out right now. Let's see. It's -2 right now. And we have highs in the above 0 degrees Celsius, so I guess it's about 32 or something Fahrenheit.
Yeah, there you go. Bring it back down.
When I can,
but
it's like,
You get the cold in the winter
like
though.
times 9 over 5 and then plus 32. So only when it's right at 0, you just, it's 32. After that.
Yeah, it's just guesswork.
Yeah. Well, and it's fun that you already have like a few inches of snow on the ground, don't you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Right. Okay, and so I jokingly said, well, I bet your mom, if your dad is a hobbyist luthier, your hobbies include hockey, guitar playing, and your profession is wood carving, then of course your mother is a counselor. And you never finished your sentence, but you were about to say, were you kidding when you said,
well, it was before we were on air. She's not a counselor. She's but she's interested in. She's some forms of counseling is she talks about it in a very serious way. So if you ask me again in like 2 years, we might have.
I'll connect our moms.
Totally.
Yeah. I'll definitely do that. Yeah. That's crazy. Well, so Doug, what is your role in this podcast?
You're both younger than my children, so.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyway, we're just tickled to have you. But curious, how did you get started in the wood carving? This is what we like to ask people.
So back to the guitar thing, I come from like a pretty artistically inclined family, I suppose, and music was always a huge thing. And I got started through a family friend who's a fantastic carver, does lots of cottonwood bark, wood spirit type stuff. And just a super good family friend. And we had a few of his pieces in the house growing up. And I just loved them so much. And so I think I was probably 10 years old or so when I just decided to like go out and grab a stick in the bush and start trying to make a little face with it. Definitely cut myself like 3 times. And then my parents were like, oh, we better get Luke a lesson from Marcel Desilets is his name. And so he got me started when I was like, maybe 10, 11, something like that. And so, that's how I sort of came into it. He showed me how to like go out and find the cottonwood bark. We're lucky here in Winnipeg that we can go out and just find it along the Assiniboine and Red Rivers. So I remember going out with excursions or with Marcel on these bark hunting excursions. It's just like the most fun adventure imaginable. Because like, I guess here, I don't know about you, Alec, when you go out to find your bark, do you find it in like deadfall trees? Is that what you look for?
Yep. So sometimes they're fallen trees and other times they're like they're dead but still standing, right. And the bark is falling off. So So I remember it's just such fun memories and it's such a fun little adventure because the way it happens here is that it like when the river comes up in the flood every spring, the current really picks up and it'll actually rip the bark right off of the trees and then it sort of scatters it along the riverbank as driftwood. And so when the flood comes back down, we would go out and just like look along the riverbank for pieces of cottonwood bark. And they always are like, the flat side, the back side up and just lying in the mud. So like you see just the backside and you have no idea if it's a good piece to carve or not. And it's like this awesome treasure hunt where it's like, there's one. I think that's one. It's like, is it any good? Turn it over. It's too thin. It's too cracked. Yep.
I would love to do that.
You should come out.
Doesn't that sound fun?
I don't tempt me. I think I'd love to do that. I haven't been to your area. I think it was the early 90s. I went up to the Red River back when half the province flooded, and I threw sandbags around while they were digging the spillway. Which is probably now this is a long time ago.
Absolutely essential. That floodway really saves the city in a big way. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but it was a disaster area when I went there.
Yeah, but, yeah. No, I'm tempting you. You should come out. It's super fun.
Oh, I'd love to. It's probably only a day's drive, 22 hours. That's about it.
A full day. Is it really that far?
I could go to Florida, or I could go to. I think it probably is pretty close to that.
Yeah.
I think Thunder Bay is about 20 hours for me. So,
what's the name? Like, where exactly do you live? What's the name of the town?
What is your address? If you don't mind sharing.
I want postal codes.
I'm down closer to London, Ontario, like southern Ontario, way down.
South.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you have snow right now?
Right. I have a little bit of snow, but the grass is poking through.
Wow. Crazy.
So, yeah. But today it was like plus 6 today.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So,
right on.
Yeah, it was a beauty day. But.
So anyways, that's how I got started. Family friend taught me when I was young. And just kind of kept going through. I would go through phases of it, picking it back up every, couple months or every couple of years. And
Yeah. Now, and then when did you start taking it more seriously? Like when did you start thinking like this could be a career?
Yeah. It feels like this. It feels like just this like 2-year-long experiment that I'm kind of still running in a way. So I went to university, I got a science degree. Wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do for a while. Ultimately decided med school would be a good idea. And so I was studying.
That's right.
And had applied unsuccessfully 1 year. And this was in, I suppose, 2020, maybe end of 2019. And then in 2020, I was still, med school is super competitive, as most people know. So I was fully prepared to take multiple cracks at it. But it's just, obviously COVID happened around then. So usually what I would be doing for some form of income would be like working in a restaurant or like I was painting houses and stuff like that. But I couldn't do any of that because of COVID. So I was like, this wood carving thing that I love so much, like, I wonder if what would happen if I started like listing some on Facebook Marketplace, like just we have Kijiji. It's like Craigslist, I guess. Yep. And so I would just like sell the odd carving that I would make, not really expecting or thinking that much of it, or expecting anything from it. And honestly, that just kind of kept snowballing. Like I've had nothing but extremely positive, like surprisingly positive feedback since getting that ball rolling. And so I've just kind of kept rolling that ball, I guess, until today, where it's like, now it's like the whole med school thing. It's like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, potentially sometime in the future, but I'm very happy doing this, and it's proving to be sustainable. So yeah.
I remember in one of our correspondence, I shared my jealousy of you being able to be a full-time wood carver, and your dig back was, well, first you have to offer your carvings for sale.
Yeah. Well, how's that going for you, anyways? You mentioned Tim in the Herd in a couple episodes back, I think, eh?
Yeah, no, I haven't done nothing. Yeah. Nothing at all. I've been cutting firewood and trying to make the next YouTube video.
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
Yeah, I'm going to, though.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But so in your pursuit of as a full-time wood carver, you had a little trip recently.
I did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But before you tell that story, have you heard the one about the sculptor and his Italian friend?
Yeah, I've heard it. Move on. No, I'm just kidding.
There once was a sculptor who made beautiful pieces of work. His specialty was beautiful women. He'd toil away for hours on end, immortalizing the prettiest woman in plaster and granite. But one day, he realized that his work was no longer in demand. Distraught, he called over his closest friend, an Italian art critic, and asked his advice. "Your works are phenomenal," he said, "but it has nothing to set it apart. That is why your work is no longer in demand." The sculptor thought about this for days, weeks even. Finally, he decided he'd sculpt the faces of beautiful women out of blocks of cheese. That way, it would set his work apart. He wasted no time, and he found the prettiest woman in the city and got to work. A few days later, he was done. He called his friend over to inspect the masterpiece. "Well," he asked, "what do you think?" His Italian friend looked over the cheese sculpture for several minutes. Finally, he shrugged. "It's a pretty good."
Okay. Oh my gosh. Are all of you guys like Norm Macdonald? Just with like
Alec,
the hour-long setups?
Click that button right now.
I refuse. No.
Push the button. Push that button. Push it.
Do it.
No.
Do it.
Now.
No.
Do it.
I can't. Okay. The only reason I'm doing it is for Lucas.
There it is. There it is. Listen to them. Listen to them. They loved it.
That's for you, Lucas.
I think my fiance first realized that she was falling for me because I told her the moth joke from Norman.
Yes. My favorite.
Are you serious?
Best joke ever.
Oh,
how did you remember it all?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about that joke. You don't remember much of anything. You can just
you just keep going.
You just
make it up.
Crap up, and it's like, no, it's amazing.
Oh.
I ended up with her after that. That was a.
So back to Italy.
Yes. Yeah, Italy was incredible. I went, it was a 2-week masterclass with Bruno Walpath, who, for those of you who don't know, you should definitely look up Bruno's work. He's an incredible sculptor. He comes from this Italian, like multiple 100-year-old tradition in the northern regions of Italy, where wood carving is really a true art form of sculpture. And which it is here too, but I think in Italy it's more taken seriously in that regard, anyways. So yeah, just beautiful figurative work. So it was actually our mutual buddy Brian Melton who turned me on to this course and said that I should go. So yeah, we went together, and it was unbelievable. I learned so much, made great friends with all the artists, the students who were there. It's really cool. There were people from Netherlands and East France. Yes, Boris. Do you know Boris?
I know of Boris.
Boris is awesome. I love that guy. Yeah,
that's cool.
Super fun. Yeah. Incredible. Total once in a lifetime kind of an experience. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Wow. Well, yeah. So I have a follow-up question. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No.
Well, no, I was just curious. So this is funny, just for a little backstory. I was also considering taking this, applying for this workshop. Yeah. What was that process like? Just out of curiosity, Brian explained kind of from his perspective what that was like. Was that
the application process?
Yeah, I'm asking this for selfish purposes. Yeah, no,
so just curious. So we had to submit a sort of a portfolio of our work, and it was supposed to demonstrate some experience carving at a life-sized scale, in like the human form at a life scale.
Right.
And you had to upload your artist CV. You had to have an artist statement, both of which I wrote for the purpose of applying to this course because I didn't have.
Right. Right.
And I actually hadn't really had any experience carving at a life-size scale either. So I was like, dang, this is like a total once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but I don't even really meet the prerequisites. So I'm just gonna make something for the sole purpose of doing that. So,
wow.
Yeah, I did like a Christ with the crown of thorns bust, hoping that would kind of cut the mustard for this application. So I did that. So. Yeah, I submitted, I think they asked for like 10 to 20 photos or something like that of your work and a CV and the artist statement. And then they sent it to Bruno to review. And then, yeah. The max capacity for the course, I think, was 8, and there were 6 of us in the end. So I kind of wonder if they turned anyone away or not. I'm not sure. Maybe they did. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Doug, go ahead.
No, I interrupted Doug's question.
No. I my question was just a curiosity of what drew you towards the. Me and Ackle always have the same conversation about the what draws you to the realism art versus mythical or goofy or what.
Yeah, like there's obviously a lot of caricature stuff that's fantastic that's out there. I don't know. It's a very visceral, innate thing for me that is just draws me towards that. I think part of it is just that it's technically quite difficult to achieve maybe, but at the same time, I've tried a couple of caricature carvings and they're a lot harder than they seem to, to get them looking good. But yeah, I don't know. That's a good question that I don't think I really have an answer for. It's just something that I've always been drawn to, the realistic art. It's yeah.
Yep. No, fair enough. Yep. No, I always say I haven't found my lane yet. It's just dabbling in everything and all at once. So I appreciate those who could just say, this is what I do, and go with it.
Yeah.
So.
I'm definitely a dabbler too. I'm so interested in so many different things. Like I've been, and Alec and I were talking about this in our call yesterday a little bit, chainsaw carving. Like I'm getting into that now a little bit, partially just due to the reality of doing it full time now. I'm kind of forced to like explore every avenue as diverse as I possibly can be. And there's like so much great chainsaw carving work out there too. That is like 100%.
There really is.
Some of it seems kind of maybe a little sporty to me, and it has that element to it. But so many of these chainsaw carvers are making stuff that could easily be considered, at least in my mind, as real art, whatever that means. It's like a lot of it.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of it's so incredible. Yeah.
What is your definition of art? I'm just kidding.
Anyone who has like the definition of art is just like totally just, I don't know. I think that's the whole purpose of art, is that it's like, I mean, maybe it's like, I think, I don't know, this is not my idea, but I heard this quoted or said somewhere, that art is more about asking questions than it is about providing answers. And I think art is just like a form of exploration, usually related to, or maybe not, I don't know. Like I was going to say usually related to something current, like that's happening in the world, like important issues, but not answering those questions, but exploring them in a way where you can't in like a political discussion or something like that, where people have like very hard and fast opinions on things. I think I see art as just this sort of landscape to explore things freely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that another quality of art, just to add to that, nice definition for art, in keeping with the broadness of it, I think I've heard at least a few folks in the last couple of weeks define art as something that also, or at least like art, like you look at someone like Giacometti or someone like even the like Picasso and Klimt and all these artists, they have like there's a timelessness to them, maybe, that they almost seem to be not bound by necessarily the era that they were in, maybe that they did something that kind of was both modern and ancient at the same time.
Right. Yeah. Has like one eye looking to the past and one eye looking forward into the future. Totally. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's beautiful. All right. Pepper me, boys.
Yeah. I can feel the tension about whether Doug and I who will jump in first.
I'm thinking
it's not for lack of questions.
But I'm thinking, so when you, like you said, when you're doing that for a living now, are you, is it harder to pursue the artist bust type carvings while trying to pay the bills? Like, do you find that you're just going to start pumping out 100 wood spirits just to give you time to make a bust?
Yeah, you kind of put your finger on like one of the core tensions in my career at the moment as an artist, that like trying to do this full time. Yeah, you're 100% right. Like there's, I have the reality of just having moved into a house and having a fiance, getting married, going on a honeymoon, and all these things that are quite expensive. And so there is like when the second I sort of chose to do this as a career, it's like you're kind of signing up to like compromise a little bit. You kind of have to, just realistically. So yeah, 100%. I would love to spend all of my time working on life-sized figurative work, because that's really speaking to me. It's not that I don't enjoy doing the wood spirits and chainsaw stuff. I really do. I can't complain. Like, I'll never complain about being able to do wood carving of any sort for my livelihood. It's a real gift, and I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, I don't spend nearly enough of my time working on those things if I had it my way. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the same experience as you, but in a different way. That the YouTube videos, when I want to like, my core audience it's always beginner level, and I find myself doing more of these simple, easy carvings, and then trying to make time when I can actually go and make even a wood spirit. Just to give myself that fulfillment to go a little bit farther than the simple stuff. But yeah, I guess everybody has that to some degree. Yeah.
How about you, Alec? I'd love to hear your kind of perspective on that. Do you find that tension as well?
I think what's really nice about doing art full time is that you can figure out what your schedule looks like. And there is that thing of, well, you need to make money. So there's got to be a commerce part of your job, and there's got to be an art part of it. And I think having a bit of, I wouldn't say it's a compartmentalization, but it's like, that what you're doing on some days is more geared toward commerce, right? In the same way I've mentioned before, like Chris Stapleton, one of our like biggest country acts in Tennessee, is I think his opinion is really great. Is that his in his early career, songwriting was something that he did for other people. He'd write songs for the top 100 or whatever, top 50 songwriters, and as a so that was his commerce, and as his passion, he played in a bluegrass band, right? I'm sure you've heard of the Steel Drivers. That's right. Yep. And it wasn't until someone noticed him that his art became kind of melded with his commerce, right? Like I think it was Adele in her RV, right? Like or RV, whatever it was, like her tour bus, noticing that he had this amazing ability to sing and play. Wow. And then those two things kind of melded, and that's sort of a dream come true. But I think even him having that compartmentalization, I think he still probably has that. And I guess it really helped me to hear him say that, because for a long time I felt kind of at odds with myself for that reason. Like, there's all these things I'm not getting to. But then you realize that really, no, you just have the privilege to work on a thing, a commerce that ultimately does feed into your passion, your love of the thing, the art, right? What you're doing. Yeah. So I just feel like as long as the commerce part of what I'm doing feeds into the art, then I'm golden.
Totally. That makes a lot of sense. And that's unbelievable that Chris Stapleton, with a voice like that, was still writing songs just for other people to sing. God, I can't imagine that. Dude, some serious pipes.
Can you imagine him like, that's what I thought. I thought about those meetings where he's like, I've got a new one. I'll send you a voice demo. And this big board, up in Sony or whatever, in Nashville listens to it, and they go, oh, okay. Yeah. Well, let's see. Who should we give that one to? Like, yeah, you know what? We could give it to George Jones or something. It's like, no. It's freaking Chris Stapleton. Yeah. So,
but just go, when you're even for someone who's that naturally and obviously gifted, like so insanely good, he still kind of had a time in his career when it was like he had to kind of cut his teeth a little bit and do it in that kind of compartmentalized sort of a way.
Yep.
Yeah, but that makes sense. That's good. That's a good outlook. Helps me.
Yeah, too. And it's helped me to that. What you just said there too is like, I think I've heard it said that a millennial generation particularly struggles with this. I'm not sure if that's true. It might just be an unfair criticism, but there is sort of like a thing that I feel, at least, that I have this tendency to write myself off too early. Like, I've done this and it's not working as well as I want, so it's not my thing. And then you talking to Doug even about, for example, YouTube, right? And him saying, just as starting out in YouTube, 1,000 views on a video was huge. I mean, like when you're first starting out, right? That's a big deal. Like, people didn't get that. And so putting it into perspective a bit is like, well, maybe you're just sort of like you know, and that applies to carving, right? Like, you know, if a carving that you made didn't sell, or, you know, you tried to teach a class and it didn't work out. It's like, you sort of tend to write yourself off too soon before is necessary. My brother is a great example of somebody who has this sort of like internal grit that, you know, he can, you know, with regard to YouTube, for instance, I mean, he's made videos that have gotten, you know, tens of thousands of views, but he's also, majority of his videos get like 50 views, you know, at most, right? Or like 100 views. And he keeps doing it every single day. And again, I think that's less about YouTube and more just about the grit that it takes to be good at something. And I admire that, people, because it is hard.
It's super hard.
Well, I always tell people that beginning YouTube guys, they always send me a video and go, "Hey, can you give me a shout out?" And I always go back and say, "I will definitely give you a shout out after you've made 250 videos."
Yeah.
Wow.
There's no free ride. You don't.
Yep.
You don't.
It's good.
Just take off. It takes work and perseverance. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Lucas, as a full-time woodcarver, are you prone to like your early mornings? You're up and at them at the crack of dawn, and you're carving. Are you?
I try.
Like Alec, and you watch cartoons in your pajamas. and...
Yeah. So I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning specifically to watch 2 hours of SpongeBob.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Can we cut that out? Can we have that cut out?
No. I do try to. I'm usually up at like 6 or so, which is, I guess, on the early side of somewhat normal. It's not like crazy. I'm no. Back to Brian Melton. That dude's insane. Like, that guy's a total work.
Yeah.
Full-time teacher, full-time dad, and he's up at like whatever 4:30 to carve for 3 hours in the morning. So that's not me. But
Right.
yeah, 6 o'clock ish, I'd say I get up, and I try to take care of all my online work in the morning, like emails and website management, listing carvings, accounting kind of stuff, whatever, for a couple hours in the morning. And I try to be in the garage carving at like 8. So I try to keep it like a pretty much a, 8 to 4 o'clock kind of a thing with my fiance is a teacher. She teaches just like 2 minutes away. So she comes home for lunch. So we have about an hour of lunch in the middle of the day, and then back to work.
So you keep it in business hours?
I try to keep it business hours if I can. It doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes, it's a funny thing where, like, I'm sure most people watching this show can kind of relate to, like, just like when you're carving and like you really get into a flow. Sometimes you can't really control when that hits you. So, once in a while that hits you in the evening and you just want to carve until like 1 a.m. I don't really do that, but like sometimes I really have that happen to me at in the evening. And so, every once in a while I'll just sort of follow wherever the flow's taking me in that way. But
yeah, well, that's the beauty of doing what you love.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I have to work tonight. It's like you just get into it and just can't stop.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
If all jobs were like that, eh?
I know, right? Yeah. I have to say that I have it pretty nice now too, that I'm able to work right in my garage. Before, I was renting a studio space in like, it's the Exchange District in Winnipeg. It's just like, there's a bunch of artist studios. So I was driving in and, paying for parking and just paying for the studio fees. And it's just like the convenience of it is like, or the lack of convenience of it, I should say. So yeah, I've got it pretty good now. Yeah.
Alec, you started the same way. Did you had a shop space somewhere?
Well, so I started out, of course, at my parents', and then, as a young adult, I can't remember what age, I think like 21 or something like that. I ended up getting in a studio in like an artist kind of community in an old not abandoned, but an old industrial complex that was abandoned for some years, and then kind of roughly turned into artist, 1,200 square foot artist spaces. And I had a space there that I co-rented with a furniture builder. So we had kind of our areas divided up, and So yeah, something similar. And that was it was a hike. I mean, the parking we didn't pay for, but there was it wasn't too expensive because it was in the city, and and it's not necessarily in Detroit. Things aren't as expensive as in some cities, but in traffic it would be an hour and a half drive there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Now, Lucas, as you're in a bit of a bigger city now, do you have any interaction with other like-minded woodcarvers, or do you have a community that you know of?
No.
Like, I'm down here in Corn Belt, and I've never carved with another person in my life.
Not really. I mean, my first mentor that I mentioned earlier, Marcel, he lives in Winnipeg, but we haven't carved together in years and years. So,
is Marcel, is he the Imagine in Wood fella?
No, Imagine in Wood that's Murray Watson. That he's from Winnipeg.
Murray, yes, you're right. I knew
he's also
you're in your area.
He does cottonwood bark stuff too. I haven't ever actually met that guy, but it's a funny thing because like I got started and I started taking it more seriously and doing it, eventually full time, kind of at the start of COVID. So I couldn't for the first year and a half or so of taking carving more seriously, actually connect with anyone. So now I'm definitely looking to do that, but I don't know if there's a ton of wood carvers in Winnipeg. If you're watching this and you're out there, I know they're out there. They're definitely out there. But yeah, hit me up.
Well, I don't know if you truly understand how blessed you are to be able to go down to the river and grab your bark, though. That's huge. It's huge.
Pretty fun. It's pretty great. Yeah. And I found some nice deadfalls too. And when you find like a nice deadfall tree that you can just pluck big pieces right off of, it's like you find a couple of those and you're kind of stocked for the foreseeable future, like.
Oh yes. Lucas has a YouTube channel as well. And on that, he shows a bark harvest, and I was just drooling. These monster gobs of bark falling off the tree. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm just seeing hundreds of dollars just falling off the tree.
They say money doesn't grow on trees, but boy, I tell you, in Winnipeg, Manitoba, it sure does.
Yep. Yeah. No, and
do you run into any
expensive medium?
Now you have it's a smaller bark. It's not like the BC bark, right? It's a little bit skinnier, or is it more prone to clumping?
On average, yeah, for sure. I think they have they definitely have more real big, thick stuff out west. But if you find the right trees, it's there. It's just kind of few and far between. But the real big ones are definitely out there too. So yeah, I have some. I found some that are approaching 6 inches or so in depth, which to me is like pretty fantastic.
No, that was fantastic.
And I don't know about you guys. I'm always afraid to cut into those ones. I'm actually starting to build this giant heaping stockpile of like grade A, like amazing pieces of bark that I'm just like, I'll do something with that one day. And some of them are now like 5 years old or older. It's like, maybe I should actually start on a big piece one of these days.
Yeah. I call it the fancy notebook effect. Where, have you ever been gifted a fancy, like a leather bound Italian notebook with like hand pressed, whatever it is, paper, acid free, and then you get it and then you look at it and you're like, what the heck am I going to write in this? It's like, that's worth writing.
That's too funny. Yeah, totally. That's exactly that.
What were you saying?
Well, I was just saying that we had asked Lucas earlier to grab some of his work if it was handy. You want to show some of your handiwork? Now that we're YouTube only, we can show. There we go.
Ooh.
Wow.
Now that I'm losing all my natural light here, so I've just got this nice yellow light that makes it look really yellow. But there he is for the YouTube.
Can you zoom in on that little caterpillar or caterpillar?
Ladybug.
Ladybug. Thank you.
Very nice.
Just focusing. Wow. Yeah.
That is so awesome.
Little splash of color is so nice.
I love that.
Yeah. I always like, I don't know. don't know if you guys feel this way as well, but like I love the natural look so much. I know Doug you paint a lot of your stuff and it always looks beautiful. And I'm just always experimenting with that. But I'm always hesitant. I'm like, am I gonna mess this thing up by slapping a bunch of paint on it? But
I used to paint a lot more than I do now because I actually kind of did a poll one time, and to me, I love the painting, and a lot of people like it was an even split. Like they say, don't touch it, natural only. Yeah. But some of them, when I paint, I like that, but I guess I don't have taste because I like a little bit of color here and there. So maybe just I do like painting the eyes. Yeah. But then again, I started carving the eyes a little bit more now. And I can go, I'm 50-50 back and forth.
It's interesting. Speaking of carvings and painting eyes, and I have this guy right behind me. And this is one of the things I learned from Bruno is that Bruno Walpoth, he only draws on the eyes.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a...
Wow. That's beautiful. Like that is beautiful.
It's literally...
What is that
drawn
wood?
On with pencil, and then like a little white kind of a pastel pencil crayon type thing for the whites of the eyes, and it just works.
You're kidding?
Works, yeah. Uh-huh.
He's painting them, or he's pasteling
like
them?
Pastel pencil, and it's just literally like a lead pencil for the pupils in the iris. It's incredible. It's super.
Wow.
What kind of wood is it? That's a funny topic because we were told we were going to be walnut for this course, and we showed up and there was no walnut to be spoken of. So we had to go to a local sawmill and source some wood. And for some reason, I don't know, they were speaking obviously Italian, so maybe there's some things were lost in translation, but they seemed to not know what kind of wood it was. And so we went back with this wood and none of us were really certain what exactly it was. Our best guess is Lebanese cedar. So that was Boris. Shout out to Boris. Anybody watching this, look up Boris Pavel Conan on Instagram. Great guy. He thought it was Lebanese cedar. So yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you say you're losing your daylight.
Yeah.
It's been dark here for probably over an hour. That's crazy.
Hey,
that's how north you are.
Or I hate to say this, I gotta go grab my phone charger before you lose me abruptly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we can do a quick edit here.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. I'm gonna go do that quick. Be right back.
Yep. That's cool. The way he's doing the eyes. My phone died too. That's not my charger either, is it?
Going forward, how do you want to transition?
1 second. I can't hear you, Doug. What did you say?
Are we still live?
Yes.
We're still live. It is confirmed, Lucas, you are an artist.
What?
Your phone died. It's confirmed you are an artist. Your phone died.
What is that? You have to piece that one together for me.
Every time when I call Alec, it could be 9 o'clock in the morning. He goes, "Oh, I got to charge my phone." But a normal guy charges his phone when he goes to bed at night. He's not saying anything.
Yeah, I mean, my phone dies pretty quick. I gotta say, it's like SE. And my charger doesn't always work, and I just have all these excuses. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand.
Okay, here we go.
Before we go go back. Where are we headed? Are we going to do media or something too?
Yeah.
We're
so
almost,
if you want to just
we're at 53.
Yeah, you want to? I already wrote that down. You want to just give us a little strum, and then we can read our one question for the day.
Sure.
Well, this will be good for a different perspective. Anyway, this question.
Yes.
All right, ready? Whenever you're ready. Media.
A little John Mayer, a little Queen of California in there, maybe. Love it. Media. It's the time of the show where I guess we ask each other, including Lucas today, what we've been taking in, learning about, maybe watching, listening to. And so, yeah. Well, actually, that's not true at all.
No, because we're going to go to the mailbag first. But
this is why I love you.
We should definitely leave this in.
We've only done this 53 times, so.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, we have one email question. And it is from Tom. And Tom says, guys, love the podcast. But I have a question. How much does being able to draw help you to carve? I don't draw well. Sometimes it helps. Other times I just wing it. So what do you guys think? Drawing,
that's a great question.
And carving.
Yeah.
In fact, I just asked this question to Opperman on Saturday. I can never remember his name. What's his name?
Oh, Olsen.
Alec?
Ryan
Olsen.
Opperman.
He was talking about doing all the sketches for his carvings. And I was asking him if he sketches all his carvings, and basically he said yes. And he said, "How about you?" And I said, "I can't draw a stick man." So that's where I fall into this question. So how about you guys?
Carve a stick man.
Be really.
I don't know.
You know what that means? That would be like a bathroom door sign.
Exactly. Stick man.
I could do one with the skirt.
Sure.
I could do that.
Yeah.
What about you, Lucas? Is drawing a relevant part of your process, or?
It's not. I only draw if I need to do like a sort of proof of concept for like a custom commission or something like that. Then I'll force myself to draw. But the reason I don't draw is just out of, I don't know, potentially laziness. I feel like it probably would be a good idea to draw carvings. I feel it probably can't hurt. So I don't really draw, but that's not to say that it's probably not a good idea, because I bet you. Do you? What about you, Alec? Do you draw?
Yeah. So, when I first started out in, I guess, creative endeavors, my first thought as a teenager, or actually probably preteen, was to be a painter. I was a pretty subpar painter, though. I'd paint on the back of boxes and whatever garbage cardboard I could find, and then graduated to canvas, but had similar effect to the fancy notebook, which we were talking about earlier, which was like, this canvas was $20. What do I have to paint on this that's worthwhile? And I was actually, it wasn't that I was terrible at it. It's just that I don't know if I felt as excited about it as I did when I started up in carving. Carving just kind of won out. So that being said, yeah, I kind of already had a like for drawing and painting. I was definitely, again, not particularly gifted in it. I was good at it, but not great. And so when it came to carving, when carving came into my life, rather, I did not draw very much. I drew a lot less. And so, yeah, for many years it was that way. I would not draw very much at all. Maybe occasionally would sketch. And my brother was a better drawer than I was, having only drawn, in high school, and then he kind of maintained those skills better than I did. But it's come to my attention well, aside from getting commissions, like you say, proof of concept, or like just doing like, any sort of example of a piece, or like a sketch up, it is helpful to sort of flesh out ideas on paper occasionally. So yeah, so every once in a while I'll get my iPad out. That's kind of the point of getting that little piece of technology, is to do some sketches with the pencil and draw some stuff out before I carve it. But yeah, for the most part, not as much. But yeah, I think it's a really worthwhile endeavor to be a good drawer. And we've talked about this before, but there are people, I can't remember the medieval sculptor who said that the key to sculpture can be summed up in one word, and that is to draw. So, so I think there is some value in that, and I can see how drawing can help you conceptualize things in less time, because you can sit down and make a decent drawing in about an hour. Whereas,
if you can, only if you can. That's right.
Well, yeah. I mean, really though, it's not like Lucas is saying, these are not rendered drawings. These are like, if you saw these drawings, they're super sketchy. They're rough. Lines on lines on lines. It's not like beautifully cross-hatched, perfect.
But if somebody was commissioning you, it'd be hard to, if they want their face, right? Like, you wouldn't draw them.
I don't know. Sort of interrupted. I don't know if I cut out there for a second. I got a call, and then
you're good.
Okay, I'm good. Okay.
Not a big deal.
Yeah, you can't hurt this.
Yeah. But I did not do a lot of sketching before portraits, though. I could see that being important too, though.
That's what I'm saying about the portraits, because a man walked into a sculpture studio and says, "I would like a bust in my image. How much would that cost?" The sculptor says, "Whoa, you only just walked in the door and you're already talking prices? Let's back up a bit." The man replied, "I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself."
Oh my gosh. That's better than any laugh button.
Oh boy. All right. Well,
I refuse to hit it.
Let's move into our media section now.
Yeah. I think it's only appropriate that Lucas, wielding a guitar, could do our little media transition instrumental. Would you be willing?
Make it festive. I got the Christmas tree behind me,
There you go.
That's so random.
That is so good. Wow. Media Hour, where we talk about things we've been listening, taking in. And, Lucas, is there anything that you've been musically taking in? Any artists, podcasts, anything relevant?
Gosh. Podcasts, I've been binging The Sculptor's Funeral. Podcast. It kind of starts off just going through the history of all of the big, Renaissance, the pre-Renaissance kind of sculptors, Donatello, Michelangelo, blah, blah, blah. Great podcast. So there's that.
That's interesting. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I think it might be, I think the host claims it's the only podcast out there for figurative sculptors. I haven't found anything else.
No.
Other than this, maybe. This counts. So there's two.
This comes up a little short.
This is a podcast for lowlifes and losers. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to edit that out for sure.
Email Alec Lacasse.
Golly.
I love our audience. I'm totally kidding.
What else am I consuming these days? Music. We talked about this. I tipped you off to this. You mentioned we'll tie in the Canadian theme here too, the bluegrass thing. Tony Rice, fantastic bluegrass musician, passed away just a couple of years ago. He's got this beautiful album of Gordon Lightfoot covers, exclusively Gordon Lightfoot covers. Tony Rice sings Gordon Lightfoot, I believe, is the name of the album, and that was I've been revisiting that for the past few weeks. It's beautiful. Beautiful stuff.
Okay, both of you right now. Favorite Gordon Lightfoot song?
Walls.
The Apology.
I'd be Early Morning Rain.
Ah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, you're so basic, Doug.
I know.
Specifically, the Tony Rice version of Early Morning Rain is one of the. I feel like it's one of the best compositions ever. I'm also not as familiar as one might think that I would be with the originals, so I know it's always weird going from really knowing an original version of a tune to a cover, and then it's like, okay, this isn't the same thing, but I love it.
Well, what you grow to love first, always like. Sometimes the covers are better.
Sometimes, yeah.
You know, if you heard the cover first, and then when you hear the original, it's like it's always older, maybe not as well produced.
100%, yeah,
totally. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Yeah, and I have gotten into I think I did hear Walls, or what is it? The Wall? What is it? What is this? What is the title of the song? That Tony Rice covered, and that was beautiful. Yeah. I'm always a little skeptical when I hear like, oh, bluegrass cover of input folk song. It's like, well, I wonder if it's going to be overdone, like way too many instrumentals. But it was great. I mean, his singing is spot on, and the way it was recorded, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's very fitting.
Yeah, it's wonderful stuff. The instrumental compositions of those, production, his singing, it's all great. Yeah. So thanks for that tip off there.
Yeah. What you got, Doug?
Well, I, being a Yellowstone fan, the show, I started watching the precursor to Yellowstone, which was 1883. And it's about the how they got to Montana. So this goes way, 1883. It's basically finding the West and their journey across. Very, very good show. Really enjoying it. Yep. That's the precursor to the Yellowstone show, which is on now. But on another hand, musically, I found another fun band that I love, and it might fit into your little hipster vibes over there with a Liverpool fellow who's now in Toronto, Banners. Have you ever heard of Banners? Really fantastic. Really, really enjoy that. How would you
describe the style?
Alternative, like I said, hipster vibe.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. But
the genre is hipster.
well, I don't know. It's like Alec and his Bon Iver.
Bon Iver.
What? Alec and his Bon Iver.
Bon Iver. It's got that feel. It's nice. It's nice music. It's not
Alec and his Bon Iver. Have I talked about Bon Iver before?
You're a fan.
Oh, yeah. But who isn't? You're a fan, too.
I've never listened to him.
Have you not?
No, honestly, I haven't.
Really?
I probably, or maybe I have inadvertently.
Yeah.
This is the beauty. I am Mr. Anti-Technology here, but the kids put me on the Spotify. And if I play, I'm really enjoying I play one song. It knows what I like, and it plays me a whole playlist of all these bands I've never heard before, but it's all the same style. And sometimes I think I'm listening to an album, but they're all different bands. It's all like it gets to know you so well.
Yeah.
It knows what you like.
Yeah, I'm still stuck in the Stone Age on Apple Music, but yeah, I've heard all my friends. It's like, no, Spotify. You got to get on Spotify. The algorithms are way better. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess Apple Music, you have to pick what you listen to, right?
Yeah.
The fidelity is better, though. I think the audio is much better on Apple. So I actually have both. We like having both. So
interesting.
Yeah.
I can't afford both. I'm not a woodcarver.
Family package, man. You got to get that family package. Right. Get some friends on it with you. So that's what we did.
All right, you're up.
Well, on that note, gosh, so many thoughts rushing through my head. You guys talk about a lot of things that I like. So as far as music goes, well, let me go first to the one I'm most excited about that actually you suggested, Doug. I listened to watched The Alpinist last night. And it's a movie about, have you seen it,
No.
Lucas? It's a movie about this, actually really interestingly, it's introed by Alex Honnold. who I'm sure you guys have heard of before. Very well-known rock climber, at least in the States right now.
He did Free Solo, the movie.
Yep. Yeah. So it's a really, really popular movie here, and known for doing this kind of like unbelievable free solo, which means no ropes, no safety measures at all. You fall, you die, of El Capitan, and thousands of feet of rock he traveled without any backup plan. And anyway, it starts out with this Alex Honnold saying in an interview that he looks up to this kid who no one's ever heard of, named Marc-Luc Leclerc. And then it kind of talks about the journey of these documentarians or documentarists, documentarianists who found this kid in Squamish, which is ironic because my wife and I were just there, passing through and just exploring, and very popular climbers area, and just kind of living in a tent with his girlfriend, and happens to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, young alpinist to ever live. He has no internet access. He has no social media. He has no cell phone at all. Just no interest in any of it. And so he's basically unknown at the beginning, until this documentary came out, of course. But it's just a fascinating, I won't ruin it, but it's just a fascinating movie, The Alpinist.
And the ending is amazing. But what my favorite thing though is the documentarianists. They're the
Nisters.
Their frustration with this man, this rock, because he would go off on his own and do some incredible feat and not tell a soul. He did it for the love of it. Like, imagine.
And this is mid-documentary, so they're paying this kid, I'm assuming, or at least they're
trying to make a dog, and he's taken off and doing these incredible climbs, and for weeks at a time he wouldn't contact them because he's doing this amazing climb and not filming, not taking, like he'll take a picture on the summit, I guess is how they found out. But they're so mad at him because they're trying to make a documentary.
Documentaryism.
Anyway,
I'm so glad this is tripping you up too.
Oh man. So anyway, yeah, I loved it because it had that vibe of the Christopher McCandless Into the Wild feel.
Very good.
And that book screwed me up for years. I was right there with him. Like,
I think the world needs a lot more of that kind of mentality these days.
Yeah. Well, if you were, I put it in perspective of YouTubers and social media guys, and I'm not one to talk, but like you would have YouTubed your gear list, let alone everything along the way, just to make a show about. And this guy's just for the passion and the love of it, just doing it and not even talking about it.
Yeah.
I respect that so much.
Same.
Yeah.
So
yeah, totally.
So that's that. Very good, guys. Lucas, before play us out. Oh, go ahead.
No, before we go, I have to ask Lucas a question that I like to ask artists. Have you ever been diagnosed with a form of ADHD?
I have not been diagnosed, but oh gosh, it's hard to know. Like I was a total troublemaker in school, and I feel like I grew up in a rural community called Lactabani. It's very, went to school, and it was just like, I don't know if there would have been anyone there to even diagnose me if my parents.
No, well, same with me. Just that Lucas had ants in his pants, or
exactly. For sure. My mom used to say that all the time. Yeah, but it's a strange kind of thing where it's like I was just extremely obsessive with things. Like I just couldn't pay attention to things that I didn't want to pay attention to, and I had no kind of patience for it. I wouldn't really enjoy sitting through things, and if I felt I didn't have to, then I wouldn't. I was totally like a class clown, like just trying to make kids laugh basically the whole class. Because I just had no attention to be doing whatever the assignment was. But so, yeah. And just like a mind wandering kind of a guy, you know, like that. I've always just had that proclivity to just totally wander into random uncharted territory and get lost in daydreams and stuff. Like, yeah, very much. I'm very much that type. But I feel like I also have like very highly obsessive side of that, where it's like when it's things like carving or like guitar, or like for me, it was like, I went through a phase of being totally obsessed with fishing. Like on our cable provider, MTS, growing up, they would give like one free channel that you didn't usually have access to per month. And like one summer, it was like the World Fishing Network. So the summer when I was like 13 years old, it's just like all I watched was fishing shows. And I just got so obsessed with it. And so,
favorite fishing show?
I really liked Fishing Canada. I liked Lunkerville. Fishing the Flats was good.
How about? I always liked the In Fisherman guys. The Fishing Canada. Was that the three guys?
There's one guy. I haven't watched any of these in so long. I can't remember.
Was that Daryl Cronzy?
Gosh, I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember that. But that you totally fit into the mold.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna write a book. Artists are ADHD,
and that's all. You just open a book. There's just got to be a sentence in it.
That's right. There's got to be a paper out there or something on it, because I find that creative people aren't have a little.
I have to say I'm a little skeptical about like what is about just in general the classification of that sort of stuff. I think ADHD specifically. I feel like just our school system that we're all brought up in seems like a very unnatural thing for a human being to do, for a young kid to do, right? Just to sit at a desk.
Boys are the worst too. Boys are worse than girls too.
I would believe
in
that
scenario.
For sure. So I feel like if the you know the criteria for being ADD or ADHD, and I'm sure that it's, you know, all of these things are continuums, and I'm sure that it does reach a point where it could sensibly be classified as, you know, something that you have to take a medication for or something. So, but I think I just have this suspicion, I guess, generally that it's diagnosed a little liberally these days, because it's like, it seems like a totally 100%. Natural thing for a kid to not want to sit at a desk for 8 hours a day, you know, like, yeah.
True that.
Well, we've loved having you. And like I said, if things don't work out with Alec, I'm gonna give you a call.
Totally. Hey, I love coffee. I love carving, and I would.
The thing is, I'd keep watching. Play us out, Lucas, will you?
I don't know where these are coming from. Does anyone do a Shaggy impression?
I was just going to say, I can't do the regular part. Thanks for joining us this week, everybody. And,
thank you, Lucas.
Thanks, Lucas. So much, and we'll be back again with another show next week. Thanks, everybody.
Lucas Kost, everybody. Take your vitamins.